12 News Valley Dish, we're making delicious stuffed pork tenderloin and southwestern sweet potatoes. Plus, Celeste is trying her skills at adult kickball. It's time for the Valley Dish. Welcome to 12 News Valley Dish. I'm your host, Tram Mai. Our guest today is a newcomer to the show, but is no stranger to working on a time crunch. Take a look.
I was picked out of 6,000 contestants. I was one of the 16 finalists. It was great. It was really fun.
We just have to roll this bad boy up.
This contest was a cooking and video contest, and it was to be the host of the new Paula Deen craft food website. Actually, these are two of my good friends right here. It came to be something more like a sisterhood of women, a gathering of people online that are sharing thoughts, they're sharing their time. Paula was just so warm and inviting. I always thought she was great watching her on TV, but when you meet her, she's somebody that you just don't forget. This is my collection of cookbooks that I got when I was in Savannah, and of course, Paula Deen has signed them. When she says y'all, it means so much more. It's more like she's reaching out and giving you a big hug.
Y'all did great on the appetizers.
We also had the chance to meet her family too. Her brother Bubba that, she raised when he was 16 years old, and all of her children and her husband, they're all the same way. They're just genuine, wonderful, good Southern people.
I have to tell you, my producer Matt and I are hugely jealous of you because we are big fans of Paula Deen. We've read her book. Did you meet her sons too?
Oh, yes, I sure did. They are just as wonderful as her mother. Same beautiful blue eyes.
Yes.
They are wonderful. The whole family is, even her brother and
I have to admit, I have a crush on them. Oh, they're so cute,
well,
the Deen brothers.
I can see why.
I know. My husband's real happy about that, too. All right, well, we want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Tram.
It is so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much.
I cannot wait to cook this delicious, that's what it's called, delicious meal.
That's what it's called, because there's a little joke in there.
Yeah, we're going to get to that story. It's a good story in a second. But first, if you would like to check out today's recipe or recipes from all of our previous shows, just go to our website, valleydish.azcentral.com. Now, let's check out what ingredients you're going to need for today's first dish, which she calls delicious. 1 pork tenderloin, 1/2 teaspoon of ground pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, 8 ounces of pork chorizo sausage, 1/3 cup of Mexican shredded cheese, 1 cup of vegetable cream cheese, 1 pound of bacon, 1/3 cup of brown sugar, 1/2 cup of peach preserves, 1 chipotle pepper in adobo sauce, and 1 garlic clove. And Sonia gives it a thumbs up as soon as she heard chorizo and bacon. She's all over that.
You can't go wrong with those ingredients, though,
So we're going to start to butterfly the pork. I'm going to start on cutting up the bacon and the pepper.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Now, this is actually probably one of the most important steps, and this can be very intimidating, people, but it really doesn't have to be. We are going to butterfly this open, and that just means take a sharp knife, split it down the middle, and then we're going to keep on unfolding it by making cuts and opening it up.
Okay.
Yes, until it completely opens up.
Okay, because I think when people think of butterfly, they think of just one big slit down the middle.
Right. We're going to keep on going, because the idea is we're trying to get this to be just a nice thin layer of pork so we can add our other pork ingredients along with it.
Okay, so you're almost kind of flattening it.
Exactly. We're kind of doing that. Now, to flatten a little bit more, I'm just going to take a meat tenderizer, and this is just to make it a little bit more even.
Right.
And I'm just going to pound it out just a little bit, not too much.
Okay.
No need for that. And then next, I just need a little salt and a little fresh ground pepper.
Very simple seasonings.
It is. And, we always want to season our meat before we, proceed with our next ingredients.
Absolutely.
Now, we're going to start putting on our chorizo. And this is just 1/2 pound of chorizo. Again, the secret to this is that it's nice and thin.
I have to tell you, this is a lot of meat.
It's a lot of meat, but it's thin layers of meat. And, pork tenderloin is such a lean meat.
Yes.
So we really have to work on keeping some moisture, and a little bit of fat is what does that.
Right.
And what's so nice about this is because of the different layers of meat that we're adding, this becomes pretty much a no-fail dish, because it stays moist, like even if you cut it and put it on a serving dish. Now, right now, what I'm doing is putting the cream cheese down the middle.
So why did you choose the garden vegetable?
Oh, very easy. The work is done for me. There is tons of peppers and onions, all the flavor. Like I say, this looks like it's a very hard dish, but it is so easy.
Right. Because there's a lot of different flavors.
Yes.
So then again, folks can probably put whatever cream cheese that they like.
And you know, originally, before I was doing this, I would do other things, other cheeses like feta cheese or goat cheese or mozzarella.
Right.
And the sausage can also be changed out for Italian sausage if you like. The idea is just the layers of meat with the cheese in the middle wrapped into the bacon.
Okay, now this is the tricky part because we're rolling it and you're gonna actually put some bacon around it as well.
And I just kind of have to coax the cheese into it a little bit.
Coax it, talk to it. Talk to it, Suzanne.
Be nice to it so it wants to do a good job for me.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to flip it over.
Oh, it stayed
kind of straighten it out a little bit. And the bacon is what's going to hold it all together.
Yes.
You know? And this is what's going to take a little bit of time, but you do want to do that. Now, I have a little trick that I like to do, and I have actually gotten these little metal skewers.
Right.
And actually at the dollar store, they're supposed to be poultry lacers. And
Perfect.
I use these instead of using toothpicks because it seems like every time I use toothpicks, my husband will find it.
In his teeth.
In his teeth, and he doesn't like that. So I kind of switched over to using these metal picks opposed to the toothpicks, and they work quite well.
Okay. Do you need help with this?
Sure, if you would like to go ahead, you can start wrapping.
Okay.
And we just want to put a strip on.
How about I start wrapping this, and then I want you to get started on the glaze.
Okay, sounds really good. Okay, now the glaze is very easy, and you know, I use this glaze not only for this dish, but I also glaze just chicken breasts sometimes. It's a
that's a good
nice little interesting glaze, something a little different.
Right.
Now, Tram, you did a great job chopping up all these chipotles, and this is 1 to 2 chipotles. It just depends on how hot you like your food.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of smoke and a lot of flavors in chipotles. It's not just a single one layer. It's multi-dimensional.
No, it adds so much of a nice, kind of almost a delicate, again, depending on how much you want, but a nice heat.
And it's oh so trendy right now, isn't it? Everybody's putting chipotles and everything.
I think so many of our cooks and chefs, we have used so much of the chipotles and the adobo sauce and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, but after you start using it, you get why. And I think a lot of people are intimidated because they think, oh, that's going to be so hot because it is a smoked jalapeno.
Yep.
But when you add things like the peach preserves to it and the garlic, it really softens the flavor.
So Suzanne, this is all bacon wrapped.
Right.
And then I'm going to put it in your cast iron skillet. No oil needed, nothing.
No, there's enough fat with the bacon.
Yes, I love that sound.
The sizzle.
Yes.
The sizzle.
Yes.
You know, and the idea is we want to get all 4 sides nice and browned.
Okay.
You know,
do you have to, though?
Well, you know what? If you don't, the tenderloin cooks so quick in the oven that the bacon doesn't have enough time to brown, and it doesn't have a very appealing look or texture.
Okay.
You know, people, I think, like their bacon to be a little crispy, a little meaty.
Yes.
And if you skip that, there's just not enough time. If it was a longer baking time, sure. But this really only is going to take about 20, 25 minutes in the oven.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to, you know, turn this as we keep going. Is that all that is for the glaze?
That is that simple.
How
Peach
easy is
preserves, your clove of garlic that's been crushed, and that 1 to 2 chipotles are just diced up.
Okay.
And now we're just going to stir this up. This glaze will be placed on top of the pork tenderloin about the last 5-10 minutes of baking, just to kind of get to caramelize and get nice and sticky and nice and fragrant that way.
Right. Now I'm going to try my best to flip this.
Okay, drum roll.
I know, oh my goodness. Well, and I've got those picks kind of in the way.
Yeah, sometimes
this is when I think I could use some tongs.
Okay. Yeah, a quarter turn like this.
Yeah.
Tongs would work wonderful,
I know.
But we
I know
can
you like this
a
nice
little quarter turn as we go works good.
Okay.
But I have a little story for you about this, too.
I'm sorry, say it
I
again?
have a little story about how the name came about.
Please tell me about this. Yes, delicious is what you call it.
I know a lot of people are wondering how that came about. But my husband has always called this dish my meat stuffed meat wrapped in meat. Well,
I said it was a lot of meat.
I've never found it a very attractive name.
Right.
So when it came to doing this contest, me and my girlfriends, we all call it my, my pork tenderloin that's been stuffed with cheese and glazed with a peach chipotle sauce. But that was such a long name, we couldn't do that, so we just said, whatever, we're going to call it delicious.
And that's it.
That's how it became delicious. So.
Okay, very, you could have called, I was going to say, there's so many adjectives to call this, too.
Yeah, I just said, delicious.
Okay.
Do you think it's going to work?
I think so. I think so. So don't be a little confused when you look at our website when it's called just delicious.
Right, because it means delicious pork tenderloin.
Right, right. Okay, so I just kind of lightly brown it. Again, for time purposes of our show, we're just kind of speeding things along just a little bit. But obviously at your home, you're making this, then just go ahead and brown it a little bit more.
Right.
Okay.
Because next, you know what we have to make? This is the best part.
Right.
This is the part that usually in my house doesn't really even make it as the garnish on the dish, and it's the bacon candy.
Oh, yes, that's right. So I'm going to get this onto our cookie sheet that's already
I'm going to move the cookie sheet a little closer to you.
Thank you.
And you know, I foil all my pans, and that's because I love to cook, I love to eat, but I do not like to clean up.
Right.
And this saves a lot of time. So this pork tenderloin is going to go into a 400-degree oven.
Okay, put that in there. And then, folks, we're going to check in with that in just a second. And in the meantime, we're going to just kind of make some candied bacon.
Yes.
But next, we are going to see what Celeste Rodriguez is up to, as well as make our sweet potatoes to round out our meal. Let's see how Celeste is spending some fun afternoons. And welcome back to 12 News Valley Dish. I'm your host, Tram Mai. Today's cooking question comes from Valley Dish Facebook fan Lori Reinhardt. She writes this: what is the best way to cook fish on the grill? Mine always breaks up, sticks, or falls through. So the answer?
Well, that's quite easy. You need to make sure that both your fish and your grill is oiled. A lot of people skip that step. Another thing, if you use marinades like teriyaki for salmon, that has a lot of sugar in it. And so sometimes that's the culprit, and that's what's making it stick. So reserve your marinade for the end. You put it in as a glaze. You can also buy fish baskets, which can aid in churning the fish, and those work well too.
And those planks too, like if you're doing salmon.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Or a long spatula, kind of like that, will also aid in flipping your fish instead of using a little spatula.
Okay, hopefully that helped, Lori. Here's what you're going to need for today's second dish: the Southwestern sweet potatoes. 2 large sweet potatoes, 1/3 of a cup of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, cinnamon and smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of ancho chili powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. And this is so easy because it's all about a little shake and bake action.
It is. It's shake and bake. A little southern action here for Paula Deen. So in here, I do have a Ziploc baggie, a heavy one.
Right.
And we have all of our sweet potatoes diced up. Now, the reason I dice them up, though, is so they will cook faster. You know, if I have bigger chunks, it take longer to cook. Also, this way, all the coating gets around and you can taste all the flavors. Now, to this, I'm going to add my smoked paprika. That gives it a nice smoky taste and a little bit of heat. And my ancho powder.
For a little bit of more heat.
A little more heat. But you know, what's nice about this is that the heat is really tempered by the cinnamon. And the garlic. I just put the cinnamon in. I'm going to add some garlic to this. And I already have my salt in here. Now, you know, if you want a little spicier, you can make, you know, add more spice if you wanted it.
Get it all coated up well. And that olive oil helps kind of to evenly distribute it all.
Absolutely. So after we just kind of massage the potatoes around and all the oil and all those good spices in there, we're again going to put it onto a foil lined pan because I don't like the cleanup.
Neither do I.
I like to keep it easy in the kitchen if I can.
Look at that.
And we're just going to spread all these beautiful sweet potatoes out. And again, in the same oven, we can put it right back in there with the pork tenderloin at 400 degrees.
Okay, perfect. And then how long will that cook for?
This does cook a little longer. This will take about 40 minutes, depending on how crispy you would like your potatoes. Some people like them crispier, some softer, but usually about 40 minutes.
Perfect. And we didn't mention too, but as far as the pork tenderloin, the delicious, how long will that go in for?
That takes about 20 to 25 minutes at 400 degrees. You want to take it out, and you do want it to rest a little bit too, so that cheese can solidify. Yeah,
and don't forget, 5 to 10 minutes before it's done out of the oven, you want to put that delicious peach glaze over it.
Because this absolutely makes it. It's so good.
Yes, and Chencho, get a load of this. This, I wish you had smell-o-vision right now, because you've heard of, you know, candied pecans, candied walnuts. We're making candied bacon. And all I did was just add some of your brown sugar, put some fresh ground pepper, and that's it. And let it go.
It's that simple. And then the big thing I do want to mention, make sure this is really cooled before you taste it, because this is going to get very hot. And we want to be careful not to brown or to burn the sugar. In fact, right now, Trim, I think it's ready to take off the heat because we don't want to burn our sugar. And it does burn really quick because this is a
Yep, I'm glad you got that rag.
There we go. Yeah.
That is lovely.
And that's
I'm
gonna
sure
be such a
everyone
treat.
can smell it upstairs
I'm
too.
sure they can.
And downstairs. All right, well, looking for some way to get out